So we'll start just sitting, and you can sit any way you like. I'm going to be in Virasana. I'll just be on the diagonal here, but you can sit cross-legged if that's better for you. And then we'll set up our strap in that place. Straight at the lower ribs, about T12. Yeah. And then you'll have the hands going forward. So it's just to hold. You're not, cinching yourself in or anything. Yeah.
Mariana had a cinched.
Oh, did you? So you were all trapped in there. Yeah. Yeah, so we have super long straps. Mine's folded in half, just for convenience. And we'll start just with a little bit of breath work here. So once you have your setup, don't pull really, really hard with the strap, but have a slight tension on it so that you can feel it on your own body. And then without messing with your pelvis, think about broadening and just moving your back gently and slowly into the strap. And as you take a few breaths, see if you can inhale back. So when the inhale happens, let the back ribs and the side ribs expand. Often we breathe forward. See if you can breathe back. And then keep a hold of the strap, but just let it relax for a second. And then in your pelvis, we'll do a little cat-cow tilt, back and forth. Yeah. And notice in your body if you have a tendency to hang out in one or the other. And then we'll find middle. And we'll do this strap thing again and be really mindful that you're not doing cat-cow in the pelvis. So one more time, slight little tug on the strap. On the inhale, breathe back, fill out through the back ribs. And now on the exhale, like an accordion, think of moving the rib cage and the pelvis away from each other. So just a few breaths like that. On the inhale, you'll breathe back. And then on the exhale, we find a little lick. And then go ahead and just release the strap, release your arms, and we'll just sit for a moment. Don't worry too much about what we just did. We'll come back there. Now let yourself just settle. Your body relax. Let your face relax. Very gently here, we'll sculpt the head to bow down. You can blink the eyes open. Yes, so we'll bring the head back up to the center here. Interlace your fingers. Press the palms forward and let the back round a little bit. Yeah, and the pelvis will tuck under naturally. And then let's do the opposite here. Take the arms up overhead. And this will tilt the pelvis forward, and you'll feel the ribs pull forward a little bit. Let's stay up here and see if you can fill out a little through the back ribs. And stay nice and long and tall. That's it. Let's undo the arms, circle out the wrist a couple of times. And then fingers right on the front of the shoulders, circle out the shoulders a couple of times. Yes, you guys. All right. And then let's stretch out through the legs here. Just kind of let them go. And give your feet, your toes, your ankles any kind of movement here. Great. Alrighty. So let's move the props aside unless you need something for your knees. We'll come to all fours position. And as you sit up here into your all fours, start to move through your cat-cow. Getting some movement in the spine. And then we'll bring our attention again to that place on your back And as you exhale and round into your cat pose, can you lead and lift from there? And when you come down into your cow pose, don't overdo the cow. Just let it be a little backing off. So every time you exhale, we'll lift up through the lower back ribs. And on the inhale, we'll soften and let it go. Take a few more like that. And let's take a pause here. Press back to child's pose. Feel free to widen the knees if you need to. Give the mat a slight push down and forward with your hands and make a little wobble if that feels good. Alrighty, so let's pause here. Return to your all fours position. Step the right leg back with the toes tucked under and just move around a little bit. So just to stretch out through the back of the leg, calf, the ankle. And then we'll pause here, throttle the collarbones. Find that little lift up through the back ribs and keep that as the leg lifts up off the floor. Now from here, we'll take the right leg over to the left. So this will be a side bend. Turn your face to look left and step the foot down. Press down into the floor and see if you can lift a little more through the right back ribs, just gently. And then we'll return to center. Going to side two. Left leg is back and forth we go. Just find that movement. And before we lift the leg, we'll pause here, broaden the collarbones. Lift up through the back ribs. Find that broadening as we lift the leg. Don't lose it. Take the leg to the right, turn the head to the right, and let the foot step down on the side. Press down into the floor and lift a little more through the left back ribs. Just a little extra. Yes. All right. And then let's return to center, 2 knees down. Back to child's pose. If you want to do it with the toes tucked under, feel free. And then if you want to add in spider fingers in your hands, feel free to do that as well. Good. Let's set the hands down. Come forward and down onto the belly here. Lengthen the legs back and down once you arrive. And then from your position here, let's fold up the hands and rest your forehead down. Just take a breather. And in this position, see if you can lift up through the back ribs and find that widening effect. It's very, very subtle. And then let it go. Do it again. Lift up, widen through the back ribs. See if you can keep some of that as you lengthen back through the toes and let the legs float up off the floor. Now you won't be able to keep it completely, but don't let it go completely either. And the legs won't be too high, barely off the floor. Yeah, come on down. Bend the knees, give the legs a little swish, just a little movement side to side. Sit. And then from here, friends, let's put the legs back down. Head back, we'll go through child's pose with the toes tucked under. And then lift your knees, send yourself up and back, downward dog, and take a little movement here, a little shift. Maybe the head moves from side to side, yeah. Take what feels good. And then we'll pause and reconvene in a standing forward fold. Any way you want to do that is fine. Slight bend in the knees, press down with your feet, and use the inhale to come all the way up. And exhale, arms release down. Nice work, you guys. Let's go get the strap in. We'll do the same thing now in a standing position. Same thing we did sitting. Yeah. So let's actually just hold the strap for a second. Stand upright, slight bend in the knees, and then find again your cat-cow in the pelvis. And many of us don't realize it, but we stand with the pelvis tucked under and let me show. So the thighs end up kind of pressing forward. That's a very common posture we end up in. So let's pause here and see if you can be right in the middle. So not all the way here, not all the way there, but right in the middle. And then take your strap and put the strap right in the place where we had it before. So right at the lower back ribs. And then have enough tension on the strap that you can feel it. See if you can do this on the inhale. Widen through the back ribs without tucking the pelvis under. You might feel a slight shift back, I do. And then on the exhale, think of lengthening, lifting the ribs and the pelvis away from each other. So take a few more of those. It's a little bit of brain work. Inhaling into the back and exhale to make some length. Take it one more time. Good. And then we'll release the strap to set it aside. Now just wiggle a little bit. And you'll see in a second when we lift the arms, the pelvis wants to come more forward, as do the ribs. So let's try it. Go ahead and lift the arms. Let that happen if that's happening. And then take the very tops of the thigh bones, move it back a little bit. Send your back ribs into your imaginary strap without tucking the pelvis under. Yeah? And then find again the length. The pelvis and the rib cage moving away from each other. Create as much space as you can between the two. That looks good. And then let's stay here. Take one more breath in. On the exhale, come down, forward fold, bend the knees as much as you like. Yeah. Stay down here, just move a little bit, just a little side to side. And then we'll widen your stance a little bit, not too wide, just a little bit. Left hand stays down, bend the left knee, turn the right arm up, coming into a little twist. And then down we come, changing sides. And we'll release the arm, press down into the feet. Inhale, up we come. And exhale, the arms down. Great, so let's be at the back of the mat. Maybe you're already there. Find your mountain pose with feet just a little bit apart. Root down through the feet, take the arms up. Let's stay here. Untuck the pelvis, broaden through the back ribs. Inhale. Exhale, down we come, forward fold. You can bend the knees if you need to. Take a halfway lift, moving the chest forward. And then let's lower down the hands and come into plank pose. Yeah, if you need to do a different version or plank on the knees or on the elbows, that's fine. Once you are in position, though, can you broaden the collarbones? Can you lift up, widen a little through the back ribs, but not so much that you hunch? Just a little. Yeah. All right. Press down through the pads of the fingers here. Let's bend the knees a little, pull the knees slightly forward, and then very lightly we'll set them down. Bend the elbows and very lightly, softly come all the way down onto your belly. We'll stay here, hands right where they are. Lift up a little bit, just a little in the chest, and then we'll do our slither cobras here. One side and the other side, back and forth. Nice job. And then let's stay here. Press down into the floor with your hands and try to pull the hands back as you pull the chest forward. Be lengthened to lift. And then lower yourself down. Do that twice more. Find this little pull back with the hands forward through the chest, and down. And now the next one will stay in the up position. We are in a back bend, so this is more just using your imagination. Can you widen a little through the lower back ribs? Yeah. And then down we come, rest. Fold the hands, rest the forehead, bend your knees, take the legs for a little swish. Now while we're here, let's do a quad stretch. Put the left leg down, bend the right knee, and hold on to the foot or the ankle. Can you draw the knee back towards the back of the mat? Can you press the center of the thigh down? And can you widen a little through the back ribs? Yeah, it's subtle, but I think it makes a difference. Good, let's release and do second side. So bend the left knee, find the foot or the ankle. Send the knee back, press the center of the thigh down, and can you widen a little through the back ribs? Press into your imaginary strap. Good. All right, set the leg down and just wiggle a little bit here. We'll head back into down dog and we'll do a few variations of calf stretches. So take a second just to get there. That's it. If you need to pedal a little bit, that's fine always. Yeah. All right, so let's bring the feet a little forward, not too far, just a few inches, and also closer together. Press the right heel downward and let the left knee bend. And then we'll add in a little tail wag, just a little shift side to side. That's it. Pause.
change. So the left heel presses downward, the right knee bends. And then we'll add in our shift side to side. That's it. And then return to normal down dog. So you bring the feet back a little bit and a little apart. And now take your right leg and turn the heel in slightly towards the midline. So the toes point off to the side. Straighten the right leg, press the heel down and let the left knee bend. And now press down through both hands and see if you can lift a little through the right back ribs. Yeah. That's it, we'll switch. So coming to center, the left heel pivots in a bit. Try to sink the heel downward and bend the right knee. Yeah, so the left is kind of like, I don't know. The left leg is a little turned, the heel is turned in, the toes are turned out, and the right heel is lifted. Yeah. Press down and forward with the hands and lift a little more through the left back ribs. Yeah. Okay, come back to center, child's pose. Knees come down, hips go back, movement or stillness, you choose. Right. And then let's come up to stand. You can go be a down dog or just get there. Yes. Okay, go get something that you can roll up. I'm going to use a blanket here. And we'll do another calf stretch. And then we'll take some warrior ones after this. So I'll just mirror you here. You've done this one before. Stand up, have the right foot to the side, and then the left foot up on the roll. Toes up, heel down. Step the right foot any amount further forward that works for you. Yeah, if you're falling all over the place, come back in a little bit. Now notice here, a lot of us, the pelvis wants to slide over to the left. Can you hug it in? That's it. Press down through the feet. Move the very tops of the thigh bones back slightly. And that'll might lessen the stretch a little bit. Bear with me. And then keep the tops of the thighs moving back. Think about the back ribs drawing back a little. And then find that idea of the pelvis and the rib cage moving away from each other. Let's add on, lift the arms up. Let the arms help lift the rib cage, but let the shoulders relax without letting the pelvis shift forward. Can you broaden a little through the back ribs? Yeah. Good. Okay, release. So
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, isn't there? But it's all really subtle. It's not like, oh, it's very small little things. Let's go to the other side. So right leg is on the roll, left leg is forward. And then figure out where you need to be further or less far with the left side. Let's let the outer right hip hug in towards the midline. Take the very tops of the thigh bones, let them shift back a little. And that you'll feel the pelvis go back when that happens, and the torso might come a little forward. And then without letting the pelvis come forward again, let's do the lift first. Take the hands actually on the lower rib of the ribs. Lift, and then draw back through the back ribs without disturbing the pelvis. Yeah. Go ahead, let the arms lift. Let the arms help lift the rib cage more. But then relax a little through the shoulders. And take the back ribs back without disturbing the pelvis. Yes, yogis. Now I know I'm being super tedious about all of this. I wouldn't say to do it like this all the time. But for today, I'm working on a special something. So, yeah, let's release.
And feel that about my shin.
Oh, you do? Oh, you know why? You might be lifting the foot, the front of the toes towards you. Try to relax the front of the ankle. Is that different?
It was the front of the ankle, not my
Yeah.
ankle.
Yeah. Sometimes when we're thinking about other things and doing other things, then other bits take over.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, guys, let's take the roll and sit it at the back of the mat. And I'm going to actually have us, instead of a roll, just make it a fold so it's not quite as high. And then we'll stand, let's get your strap. Just hold it. Put the right heel up on the roll and slight external rotation, so the toes point off to 1 or 2 o'clock. Left leg steps forward, 2 awkward steps, that's it. And then both legs are straight for now. Take your strap and set it up in the place we've been working, so right at those back lower ribs. And then just have enough tension that you can feel the strap. Press down firmly into the back leg heel, which has some of the same effect as moving the top of the thigh bone back. You might feel that happen. And then move the back ribs into your strap without tucking the pelvis under. Yeah? All right. And then from here, keep the hands here. And think of lifting up as the front knee is bending and you're going down. But lift up and back to come down. Nice. And once you're in position, think about the rib cage and the pelvis moving away from each other. Broaden the back into the strap. And then we'll get rid of the strap. And when we take the arms up, the ribs will come forward. Let that happen at first. Once you're up there, take the ribs back. And find again that separation. Pelvis and ribs move away from each other. Press down through the back heel. And in the back leg, think about the very, very top of the thigh bone drawing back. Yes. It's very exciting, isn't it? All right, let's hinge forward and just step forward to get out. Ha! Nice. Take a little walk. See if you feel different on the 2 sides after that. Cool. Let's do side 2. All of the same things. So, here we are. Just hold the strap. Step the left foot on the ledge with a slight external rotation. Right leg steps forward. So awkward. I don't know a better way to do it, but here we are. And then both legs are straight. Fine. Set up your strap. Same position. Yeah. It's like you're putting on the towel after the shower. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Press the back heel down and back. And feel what happens at the very, very top of the thigh bone. Yeah. And then from here, move the back ribs into the strap without messing with the pelvis. Lift the rib cage up off of the pelvis and try to think going up as you're going down. So bend the front knee, but keep the rib cage lifting up and keep the back moving into your strap. Yeah, need to adjust your stance. Sometimes I do. That's it. And then let's let go of the strap. The ribs will move when you lift the arms. Let that happen. So up we come. From here, let the lift of the arms help lift the rib cage more. But then press back into your imaginary strap. Relax a little through the inner shoulders. And keep the back heel rooted down. Yeah. So as lengthening warrior 1 pose. Get out, hinge a little forward, release the arms, step forward. Ha, nice job. So that's that. We're gonna take it again without the props. You can just move it out of the way, but then we'll do other things with different props. Including, I'll save that for later. Let's do have blocks though at the front. Yeah. So from the top of the mat, hands on the hips, let's step the right leg back with the heel down on the floor. And then as if we had the ledge, press the heel down and back. Feel the top of the right thigh back. Leave the pelvis alone. Let's keep the hands on the hips and try to lift the rib cage up as you push the pelvis down with your hands. Keep that idea. We'll bend the front knee. Keep the back heel rooted, forward and up the arms. And the arms help lift the rib cage. But then relax the shoulders and move the back ribs just slightly into your imaginary strap. Yes, yogi. Warrior 1 used to be my least favorite yoga pose, but I've really worked on it a lot. Now I love it. Let's come forward and down here, landing the hands likely on the blocks, maybe some of you on the floor. And then take a few rounds to bend and straighten the front leg. This one really just about stretching the hamstring. the next time the front leg is just slightly bent, not all the way, just a little bit. And then from here, press into the left heel. Press the heel forward as you draw back through the left hip. And as you're doing that, try to pull the arms back without moving them and lengthen the chest forward. Yeah, the front leg will eventually go straight. So we're here in this flat back position. Get out, rebend the front knee, step the back leg forward, and all the way up we come. Inhale. Exhale, down the arms. Great, side two. Hands to the hips, left leg steps back, heel to the floor. Press down into your imaginary ledge and press back through the heel, which will also move the very top of the left thigh going back. Keep that idea. Press down with the hands as you lift the rib cage and think going up to go down as the front knee bends. Sit. And then from here, let the arms come forward and up. Arms will assist in lifting the ribs, but can you relax the shoulders? Can you broaden and fill out a little through the lower back ribs? Yeah. Good. All of that while leaving the pelvis alone. That's it. And then from here, friends, let's come forward and down, land in the hands. And then we'll take a few rounds to bend and straighten the front knee. Any version of this is fine. So let's pause with the front knee just a little bit bent. You'll press the heel down and forward, draw back through the right hip as the leg starts to straighten, and also try to pull the arms back and move the chest forward. Here. So instead of going down, we go forward for this version. Yes. I didn't do it on side one, but some of you think this is helpful. Take a hand and just place, doesn't matter which, place it on the sacrum and do what you can do to make it level. Yeah, and then we'll set the hand down, maintain the position for one more moment. Yes, and then we'll bend the front knee, step the back leg forward, inhale all the way up we come, and exhale the arms down. Yes, just take a second. All right, you guys. Now next we'll take Warrior Two side angle, among other things, and it'll be different because it'll just be different. Same idea, kind of. So let's be at the front of the mat. Inhale it up, arms to the sky. Exhale it down, Uttanasana. Take your halfway lift. And first we'll transition into lunge pose. So step the right leg back with the knee off the floor, the heel lifted. And can you draw back through the pelvis forward through the chest? Just find some space. And then from here, turn the back heel down to the floor. Make your way up to Warrior Two. And I'm going to have my back to you for a moment. Very strange thing to do here. Take your hands to the pelvis. And the right half of the pelvis will be a little forward to the left. That's fine. Can you do some cat-cows in this position? Yeah? Notice if you have a tendency for one or the other. And try to be somewhere in the middle. And like we did in the previous pose, press down through the back heel. And let's just take one of your hands to the place where we've been using the strap without disturbing your pelvis. Can you broaden a little through the back ribs? It's very subtle. Just a little. Keep that idea. Let's separate the arms. Classic arm position. You can turn your face to the left, but keep the right arm long and continue to lengthen long through the right side. The pelvis is neutral. We're broadening a little through the back ribs. Come up for a second. Hands to the hips. And then re-bend the left knee and let's add in a tilt of the pelvis. Heading this side angle, but we'll do this one more time. Come back up to center. And then go again. Stretch long through the left arm. And you choose. Arm can come to the floor, to the block, or forearm to the thigh, whatever you want. Now from here, again, just leave the pelvis alone. But if you can reach, put a hand or a finger at the back ribs. And then a tiny bit. Broaden here. If you do too much, you'll end up rounding. It's tiny. Tiny, tiny. And then set the right arm back, little half circle down and then up on the diagonal side angle pose. Great. Keep the effort in the back heel. Press the back heel down. Then we'll look down at the floor. Release the arms. And then I should have said this, you might need a blanket. We're going to set the back knee down. Take a moment if you need to adjust. And now from here, let's take a few rounds of back and forth on the left leg to stretch out the left hamstring. Yeah. And then we'll come into a shortened version of the lunge. So slide the front foot in a little, and when we come up, we want the right thigh to be more or less straight up and down. So it's a 90-degree here, 90-degree there. And for the first part, you will not be feeling a lot of sensation, and that's on purpose. So just want to say that. Okay, so hands come to the hips. Go ahead and tuck the pelvis under, and when you do that, you might feel sensation here, which is actually not what we want for the moment. So untuck the pelvis a little. Don't go too extreme. Keep the hands here, press down with the hands, lift the rib cage up off the pelvis, broaden a little through the back ribs. Yeah. And then let's add the arms. Let the arms come forward and up. Let the arms help lift the rib cage off the pelvis, but then relax the shoulders. And one more time, broaden through the back ribs. Nice. Now for this next one, we will get a little more sensation. Let's take the hands down, scooch the front leg just a tiny bit forward, not far, just a little bit. And do let the pelvis come forward at this point. Press the hands down into the front thigh. Lift up through the belly. The back will round a little for this one. And on the right leg, at the very, very top of the thigh bone, think of pressing the top of the thigh bone back as the belly is lifting and you're looking down. Good. All right, and then we'll back off, reset, hands come down, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Let's do one more thing on this side. Left hand comes to the outside of the left thigh. Press thigh and hand into each other. Pelvis moves back, chest moves forward. If you want extra, take the right arm straight back alongside you. Keep the left side doing its thing. If you still want extra, take the right arm forward and out on the diagonal. That's it. Release both arms. Stay with the back knee off the floor, but bend it, and then let the front leg go straighter. This is a little release from the previous thing. All right, friends, let's bend the front knee, straighten out the back leg. Step the back leg forward. Root down to rise up. And down come the arms. Okay. Can we do second side? Sure. Oh, good. Oh, good. All right, so up we come, lengthen. Down we go, fold. Halfway up, lengthen. And then down we come, left leg steps back. Start in the lunge, keeping the hands down. First, let's drop back through the pelvis, forward through the chest. Back heel turns down to the floor. Up we come into your warrior two position. Yeah? We're going to do the weird cat-cow. So take the hands to the pelvis. And just a little bit here, both directions. Yeah. And then pause when you're neither all the way in one nor all the way in the other. Somewhere right in the middle. Yeah. Keep the back heel rooted. And then from here, let's take one hand up to the lower back ribs where we've been having the strap. Broaden a little there without tucking the pelvis under. That's the challenge. Let's take the arms out wide. Classic warrior two. You can look to the right, but keep the left arm long. Good. Okay. And then come back up, straighten the leg, take the hands to the hips. We'll rebend the front knee and add in this tilt in the pelvis, heading to side angle. And then do it one more time. Up we come. And then find the same tilt. Stretch long through the right arm. And then you can either have forearm to thigh or hand to the floor or the block, your choice. Stay here. And if you can reach, take the hand to the back ribs. Broaden it a tiny bit. It's so small. Just a tiny little bit. That's it. And then the left arm comes back. Little half circle down and up. Gorgeous. Stay here. Press down into the back leg heel. Nice job. All right, look down at the floor. Release the arms. Turn the back heel up, but set the back knee down. And then take a few rounds of this, just a little hammy stretch. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll pause and scooch the front leg in slightly. So the back thigh is pretty much straight up and down, hands here on the pelvis. And just feel what happens when you tuck the pelvis under. And then get that little pull right in here. Let's untuck a little, but don't go too extreme. Push the hands down, making the pelvis go down as you lift the rib cage up. That's it. And then we'll take the arms forward and up, letting the ribs lift up off the pelvis. But then we'll relax the shoulders and broaden a little through the back ribs. Yeah, so the pelvis is moving down. The whole rib cage is coming up, but don't let the front ribs lead the way. That's it. Okay, down come the arms. Scooch the front leg forward again just a smidge, just a little bit. Hinge forward slightly, hands to the hips. And then from here, lift up through the belly. The back will round a little. At the very, very top of the left thigh bone, think of moving that part of the leg back. It's not going to really go anywhere. It's just an action. And the gaze is down. That's it. Okay. Let's release the arms. Hands back down. Tuck the back toes under. Lift the back knee. We'll pause here. Draw back through the pelvis, forward through the chest. Right hand comes to the outside of the right thigh. Press. That's it. If you're adding on, left arm comes back, but right arm stays doing its thing. And then left arm comes forward and out on the diagonal. My new favorite version of lunge. Down come the arms. Bend the back knee, but not all the way to the floor. Straighten out the front leg just as a little reprieve. Yes, you guys. Alrighty, and then let's go this time, but rebend the front knee, and we'll go plank to the belly. Yeah. That we can let's just rest. Fold the hands. You can wiggle or you could do nothing. You could bend the knees, you could switch the legs or circle the legs. Take what you want. All right. And then let's go back to child's pose for a sec. Legs come down, hips move back towards the heels. If you need to go wider in the knees, that's fine. Any version of this is okay. Take both arms towards the right, not too far, just a little bit. And think of the left hip and the left arm reaching away from each other. Keep doing that, and then the right hand will press straight down into the floor, and without moving the hand, try to push it forward, gently. Okay, and then other side, walk both arms over towards the left. Keep reaching the right arm and the right hip away from each other. Left hand presses down and forward. All right, and then let's come back to center. We'll come, you can either go via down dog or just get there. We'll come back up to stand. Okay, so we'll do tree pose and something additional. So let's find just feet hips width distance. Soften the knees a little and we'll take a few hula hoops. I like to do this before we balance, just to feel some weight shift going on in the feet, some movement in the ankles. Yeah, I go the other direction. Okie dokie, I'll mirror you for this. Hands come to the hips. Lift the right heel and pivot so the leg turns open without the pelvis turning with. Yeah, we want the pelvis to stay forward. And then you choose. Foot can stay low or high. Above or below the knee is fine. Yeah, take a second to get there. And notice if you are tucking the pelvis under. See if you can undo just a little without overdoing. That's it. Hands will stay on the pelvis for a second. Press down as you lift the rib cage up. And then guess what we're going to do? The back ribs widen. Then we'll have to do it again when we lift the arms. Go ahead and lift the arms. Let the ribs move when you lift the arms. And then relax the shoulders. Broaden a little through the back ribs without tucking the pelvis under. Oh my gosh, I know I'm asking a lot. Awesome. We're going to stay on one leg. Release the arms down. And then take the right knee forward and up. You can let the foot go away from the leg. Now this is a little work for the psoas. Press the standing foot down. And if you'd like, you can send the arms up like a laser.
Sound effect.
Yes. It really helps if you make the sound effects, I think. Let's come down, release. Oh, okay. I do. So the right leg is down, hands to the hips. Let the left leg turn out without turning the pelvis out with it. Yeah, you can do it a few times if you want. And then we'll pause here with the leg open, either keeping it down or lifting it up. Not on the knee, but anywhere else. Yes. And then press firmly down through the standing foot. Without tucking the pelvis under, press down with the hands, let the rib cage lift. Broaden a little through the back ribs. And then we'll take the arms up. As you do so, let the ribs lift even more, but relax the shoulders. And one more time, we broaden through the back ribs. Yes. Now let's see if you can keep the arms up as we transition the leg. Yeah, just had to do it. Good, and then that's it, release. Okay, let's move around a little bit. Yeah, so I've got, lately, I think when we stretch the psoas, I think we tend to overdo it at the lower fibers of the muscle. So in today's class, my aim is to create more of a lengthening sensation than a stretch. So you might not actually feel a lot happening, but all of this is in an attempt to lengthen the psoas. And then the one we just did, that of course shortens it and strengthens it. So they're both important. Okay. So let's come down, we'll sit for a second. Let's sit just in a Dandasana with the legs forward. And take the hands just down. You can go on the fingertips if you like. Press down to lift up, broaden the collarbones, reach forward through the heels. Nice. Now in this position, if you can lift the arms without rounding and tucking, do that. But if you start to round, just keep the hands down to give yourself a little boost. Yeah, so let's lengthen up here. And for this one, don't worry about taking this back. I think when we do that here, we end up rounding. So we don't want to round, just lengthen. Yes. Now if we were in a slightly different orientation of this, we'd be in down dog. Back. All right, release the arms. Relax the legs, just give them a little wiggle jiggle. And then we'll take, this is very subtle, but I think you'll find you'll like it. So this will just be a low height. I got a folded blanket, it's about this size. And I'm gonna sit my pelvis up on that and come lie down. Got it? Oh. As we're in this position, stay here and just do a tiny little cat-cow for a second. And then you can even put your hands here. Try to find a place where the frontal, the as-is bones, the front of the pelvis there and that bony spot, and the pubic bone are approximately all on the same level. Then from here, see if you can wiggle back slightly, essentially moving the rib cage away from the pelvis. Yep. And then we'll let the right leg just come down to the floor and let it completely relax. And as we're here in this position, we're not really pushing down through the back ribs, but think about expanding a little, widening a little through the back ribs. And at any point, if you think you need more space, you can do that wiggle again. I just realized I left all the lights on.
That's okay. I got my eyes closed.
You're okay? All right. Yeah, just keep your eyes closed. Yeah. So this whole thing we're doing here, it's more of an undoing than a doing. Notice if in any way you're trying to hold the right leg in any one position, and see if for now you cannot do that. Just let it go. We'll add one more thing. Right leg will stay put. You can take the left leg and just bring it in towards your chest. Gently. Now when we bring the leg in, that will tuck the pelvis under a little. I just want to be clear on that. Yeah, see if you can still find this space though between the rib cage and the pelvis, maybe even another little wiggle back. All right, guys. So before we do side two, let's put the left one down. You rebend the right knee foot on the floor. Let's take the prop out for a second and just land. You can either have both legs bent or both legs straight, whatever you like. Just see if you notice anything. And it's quite possible that you don't. It's really subtle work here. Let's try side two. We'll start with the knees bent and slide the prop underneath. And then just like we did before, try to find a neutral pelvis, at least at first. And then once you have that, see if you can wiggle back slightly through the upper body, moving the rib cage away from the pelvis. Yeah? And then from here, let the left leg go long on the floor and just let it be spaghetti. Just let it be completely relaxed. Every now and then, just take a little check-in. Notice if any part of the leg muscles are trying to hold on. And without pushing down, just imagine almost a heaviness through the back, lower ribs. And if you want to add in the next part here, you can bring the right knee in and hold on with the arms. If you don't like that, just keep the leg down. And when we pull the leg in like this, it does tuck the pelvis under. Let that happen. And still keep that idea of rib cage and pelvis moving away from each other. And anytime if you need to take a little wiggle to move them apart, it's an option. I always point out to you guys that my left is the tighter side. And I actually didn't feel much of anything on the right side, but here I definitely do on the left. The sensation doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it right or wrong. It's just a stretch. So, sometimes feeling a stretch is a good thing. Sometimes it's neutral, and sometimes it's not a good thing. When you're ready, let's undo. Step the right foot down, bend the left knee, and then let's again remove the prop here. Just come back down and take a little pause. If you're both legs bent or both legs straight. And then let's do another one here. So bend up the knees, both knees. Take the feet wide, about as wide as the mat. And then we'll do some windshield wipers, and I am going to turn off the light here. Yeah.
And then you're on your back.
Yeah, exactly. Now that I'm suffering with you. Just back and forth a couple of times. Oh, so much better.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn that one down too. Can Mary still see? Hey, she can see, yeah. So it's funny, it actually looks brighter on the screen than it does in the room. So we'll pause the next time the knees drop right. Yeah? This is subtle. Try to move the left knee away from you towards the foot end of the mat. And see if at the same time you can widen the left back ribs.
Oh.
Yeah, gently, gently. And then we'll undo, back to center, and do the same thing on side two. So we drop the legs over, the right knee reaches away from you, and as that's happening, also widen through the right back ribs, gently. So interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a strange place to stretch. But
Yeah, so typically when we think of stretching the psoas, we're stretching the lower fibers, but here we're manipulating the upper fibers when we move that back. Now let's do it again. Come back up. Go to the right side, and now totally optional here. If you want to put the right leg, the right foot, outside of the left thigh, you can, and then use the right foot to drag the left thigh down away from you, like you're creating traction. And then at the same time, I can't even talk, move the left, widen through the left back ribs. If it's too much with the foot on the thigh, for me, I think it is. Just take it off. And then let's come back up to the center. Last side with this one. Knees drop left, possibly left foot stacks outside on the top of the right thigh, possibly not. And then if you've done that, use the foot to help drag the leg down. And at the same time, can you find that widening on the right back ribs? Yeah. Good. Okay, let's undo. Come back to center. Yeah, and then after those, let's do a thigh press. So hands just press straight ahead into the legs, just to do something symmetrical. Stay there, and then you won't really be able to, but think about moving the back ribs down a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and then that's enough. Release. Shavasana. Final resting pose. Yeah, take any props, any extra clothes, whatever you need. And then let's just let it go. Let yourself land. A lot of the work today was really brainy, kind of using your head.
Very subtle.
Yeah, some of that subtle work can be a little tricky for the brain because it's not obvious what we're doing. So thank the brain for helping out and let it relax. Thank your body for doing its thing and let it relax. attention back to your body. Start to move a little bit, any which way. Eventually, you can let the knees bend and roll over to one side. Sit from your side. Take your time to come back up and while sitting. Hands right at heart center. Light in me honors the light in you. Stay.